Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I wanted to show you how you can use Langchain framework or PandasAI library to create a GPT agent that will let you query your Salesforce reports using natural language. This also works, by the way, to query any other type of CSV file. So before we can take a look at the code, you will need to set up your environment. So to do that, you have to download Visual Studio Code and then install Python version 3.1 in your terminal. This code is not going to run using the latest Python version, so it's important that you install version 3.1. After you're done, you need to download the following packages and install them in your terminal as well. So you can type cmd on your search bar and then type the following command lines. You need to install Langchain, then OpenAI, and then PandasAI packages. Just type these commands and then you execute it from your command line. And after that, you will need to install or get an API key from OpenAI website. So to do that, you just create a user again on the OpenAI website. I will leave the link in the description below. Just come here to the API key tab and just create a new key. This is not for free, by the way. It comes with a $5 credit and then you can pay as you go. In case you want to take a look at the pricing model to try to estimate how much it's going to cost you, it depends on the model you're using. Right now, I'm using the latest version of GPT 3.5, which is this one. It costs 50 cents per million tokens, and a million token equals to about 750 words. So you can try to estimate how much it's going to cost you. But if not, you can just run a query and take a look. You can monitor the usage from this tab as well. I've been running all my queries and I haven't even used $10 budget yet. So unless you're trying to query over a huge data set, it's not gonna cost you much, at least to play around with the model. Well, after that, you are all set up. The other thing you will need to do is to get that API key and set it up as an environment variable. To do that, you can type this command also in the command line. Again, you open your command line and then replace this section with the API key you got from OpenAI website. And then in case you need to or you want to check if your API key was set up correctly as an environment variable, you can run this command again. And then after you run it, you should be able to see the key you got from OpenAI. Once you finish doing that, you're all set up. You can start coding the agent. Now, to do that, if you go to the documentation, I will also leave the link in the description below. If you go to Langchain website, you will see that the documentation is pretty self-explanatory. You just need to copy these code snippets and then paste it into your Visual Studio tool. Then we are going to get these classes. Again, I'm just copying and pasting the code or following the instructions they have over here. Then you will need to get or import your environment, your API key that you set up before as an environment variable. And then you are going to create the CSV agent that is going to read your Salesforce report. Again, here they list 2 ways of doing that. I'm using actually this one because the first method was not working, at least for me. So again, you can try both and see what works for you. And then over here, we have a loop that will let you pass the query from the command line. So let's test it out. I'm gonna run this code first. So the first time is gonna take a few seconds, but then after that, you will see that it's pretty fast. Okay, so before we just test the model, let's take a look at some of the parameters we have over here. Temperature set to 0 means that you are blocking the model from hallucinating, which means the model is not going to create random answers if they don't find the data you're looking for. I think this range between 0 and 2, so 0 being the mean and 2 being the max value you can assign to this parameter. Then you're getting the API key, and finally, you need to specify which model you are using. I showed you before, I'm using the cheapest version of model 3.5. You can even try to use um, GPT-4 if you want. It's going to be more expensive, but if you want to check what's the difference, you can just change the model. You have the naming over here in case you want to test them out. Let's go back. All right, so let's open the data set. If you're familiar with some of the Kaggle data sets, I'm using Superstore dataset first to show you how it works, and then we're going to replace this with a Salesforce report. So let's open the data set. So again, we are using the CSV agent, so it's important that your data comes in CSV format first. It's not gonna run if not. Okay, let's start with an easy query. We are going to ask the model to return what's the shipping date of order CA. Okay, let's try this out. What is the shipping date of order ID CA? I think this is case sensitive. So let's try this way. 152, 156, 152, 156. Okay, so as you can see, we already got the answer. Another thing that I forgot to mention before, if you set this parameter to true, what the model is gonna do is to create a log, so you can try to follow or manually replicate how did it get the answer. So in this case, it's a simple query, but if your query is more complicated, you might want to double check if the answer is right. So it's important that you can try to follow the log. So again, you can replicate what the model is doing manually. So as we can see here, the model is first getting, just filtering basically order ID column and then passing the ID we just type over here. So we got the date. Let's check, and it's 11/9/2020. It's correct. Okay, so let's try something more complicated now. Let's aggregate some data. Let's see, what do we have over here? We have sales, cities, and okay, let's get sales by category, and then we are going to okay. Okay. All right, so let's ask now what what is total for furniture All right. So as you can see, the model is grouping categories first, then yeah, grouping or filtering out just furniture, and then adding up the entire sales column. So we got the answer 700,041K. So let's take a look. And as you can see, it's giving us the accurate answer. Um, okay, that's pretty much it. Of course, it will take some time until you figure out what's the best way to query the model, but I would recommend you to always double check um, the results until you make sure that the model is working. Then I wanted to also show you that you can do something similar using Pandas AI library extension. The main difference is that you will get more information about what's the model doing. Um, and also you can plot data basically. So again, I'm gonna leave the link in the description below, but you can get the code snippets from this repository over here. You just copy these code snippets and then paste it into your Visual Studio Code. You will need to also get your API key. Then we have here the root to our file. You can double check if the code is reading the file. You're going to use the read CSV function to get the data frame and print the header, just to make sure that the code is reading the file. What else? And then another thing that I found is a little bit different from the Langchain bodies, that based on their documentation, you can, if you set this parameter enforce privacy to true, OpenAI is only going to get the title of the column rather than the header of the data frame information. So, in case you're worried about breaching some kind of data policy in your company, you might want to opt to use Pandas AI. But again, always make sure that you're not breaching any company policy. Um, all right. So again, let's ask the same question to see if there is any difference. So before I ask, what's wait, okay, what's the order ID, order date? I think it was that question. Let me check. Or yeah, what's the shipping date actually? What's the shipping date of order ID? CA 2013 152 156, was it 152 156? Yeah. So let's see what we get. All right, so as you can see, this model pass along with your query or adds to your query more instructions. So let's take a look. All right, so as you can see, this is automatically added to your query. Act as a senior data analyst. In the answer, you must never write technical names of the tables. All right, so you can take a look at the query to see what the model is doing, but as you can see, it's passing more information than the one you're just like commanding. You can also, yeah, the query it's or the log that you're gonna get, it's much more complete in case you want to replicate this manually. And we finally got the answer here. The shipping date of order, blah blah blah. It's well, the date is accurate as you can see. So let's try the plotting functionality. So let's take a look at, we have years. All right, so let's add order date. Okay, so let's try to create a chart, a column chart to plot the total sales by year to see what we get. Plot total sales by year, label the columns with with the total sales. Use a blue color palette or palette actually. Let's see what we get. Okay, so as you can see, this is a fast way to plot your data. For sure, it's not presentation ready, but as you can see, it's pretty easy to get the first grasp of what is the data trying to show you. Again, the more you practice, the more you will improve your queries. As you can see, I asked the model to include to include the total sales by year at the top of the columns, but I'm not getting that value, so probably I will need to play around with it until I get the query the way I want. But as you can see, it's quite easy to plot your data as well. So finally, if you want to use your or replace the file that you're using with your Salesforce report, you just log into your org, export your reports using choosing CSV format. This is quite important. If not, it's not going to work. You export it, and you have two options. Either you save it to the same folder where you saved your bot that you just created. If you save it to your to the same folder, sorry, you don't need to include the absolute path. You just need to copy and paste the relative path to your file. For example, if we just download this file and then save it to the same folder, and then you name it, let's say you save it to the same folder and you name it pipeline or whatever you want it, the way you want, you just replace the name of the file. Is always going to be .csv extension, so you just replace the name of your file, re-execute the agent, and then you're going to run the queries over the new file. If not, if you just save the bot to any other location other than the folder where you store the agent that you just created, you will need to include the absolute path as I'm showing you over here. Okay, so that's all on my side. I hope I made myself clear. I'm a Salesforce admin. I'm not a developer, so if I misspoke um, any of the terms, please apologize. We are all learning here. Okay, so I hope you can just get the chance to play around with these models and have some fun. So that's all on my side. Again, I'll see you in the next video.